Hello and welcome to Tech Circle. You're listening to the latest episode of Tech This Week, where we bring you a weekly roundup of all the major developments in the space of tech startups, enterprise technology, and policy. I'm Shweta, and joining me are my colleagues Payal Ganguly, Anand J, and Supriya Roy. Let's begin with the news which came in as a big blow to the Indian IT sector and its employees: the suspension of H-1B visa by the United States of America for the rest of the year. This obviously creates a situation of uncertainty for the Indian techies in the US. What does it look like, Anand? How bad can the impact be, and what does it mean for the IT sector as a whole?
While this is indeed a setback, the Trump presidency and the campaign that started before his presidency almost 4 years ago have been saying similar rhetoric for the same period. So the IT companies are very well prepared to mitigate any eventuality that arises out of this suspension of all work visas, not just H1B, though all these IT companies use the H1B visa for most of their employees. If you go into the details of how this works, this is not going to impact Indian IT companies much. For one, the suspension is only till end of this year. Even if these visas are not suspended, with the kind of travel restrictions and non-availability of regular flights, it's not practical for these companies to send employees over to the US, which is also the worst affected country. So that practically means none of these H1B visas, even if that are being allowed, the employees might not end up going to the US. In fact, several of these employees who are already in the US on business visas, which are not work visas, but regular trips to work with their colleagues in the US, and so they have returned to India since March because of the high case incidence of cases in the US. And for other details, the Trump administration, since 4 years ago, have always preferred employers from the US based companies, whether it's Amazon, Google, Apple, Facebook, from IT services companies like Accenture, and even Cognizant ahead of Indian companies like TCS, Wipro, and Infosys.
Anand, the move, does this impact the ability of Indian IT companies to win deals in the US in any way, or their businesses?
Not actually, because the IT companies that I mentioned, they've all hired thousands of employees in the US. TCS and Infi, both of them have more than 10,000 employees, which they have gone on record saying that this has a similar small margin impact because the US employees are costlier than what the employees cost in India. So the companies have already factored in these for their internal annual revenue and profit analysis. While this increase, there is a chance that these suspension will increase the outsourcing component of every single projects and deals that are going to happen in the future. The customers with COVID-19 crisis and remote work, most of the customers are shedding any inhibitions they had on remote working or remote deployment of application software and everything. So this also reduced the requirement of on-site employees, or at least reduce the ratio of on-site employees for any such projects, either the present continuing ongoing projects or for any future project. And finally, the likelihood of Trump getting elected again this November is getting diminished every day. So it's quite possible that a new Democratic president will favor immigration, at least the high-tech immigration.
Right. And another concern, which is going hand in hand with the COVID-19 pandemic, is cyber attacks. We have discussed in our previous podcasts too. And this time around, the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team has issued an advisory to warn citizens about a large-scale phishing attack that could imitate government-funded COVID-19 support initiatives and offer free coronavirus testing. The phishing campaign was suspected to begin on June 21st itself, and it is likely to impersonate agencies, departments, and trade associations overseeing the disbursement of government fiscal aid.
Gosh, I remember in April, Prajit reported on how Google had detected about 18 million malware and phishing Gmail messages related to COVID-19 on a per day basis. In fact, according to US-based cloud security firm Barracuda Networks, COVID-19 themed phishing attacks have gone up by about 667% percentage by the end of March 2020 alone.
And because of the growing cyber threat this week, RBI also reiterated cautionary measures that people should undertake while conducting digital transactions.
Yes, the central bank has advised them to carry out targeted multilingual campaigns via SMSs, print, and other media advertisements to raise awareness. Shifting gears to our startups coverage this week, we wrote up on Bangalore-based B2B startup which aggregates independent contractors or professionals and matches them with short-term projects contracted from its roster of corporate clients, Avigna. Now, for this company, COVID-19 has created both problems and opportunities. We have with us co-founder Gurpreet Singh to tell us one of the opportunities dealt in with in our story.
We are India's largest work fulfillment platform. We basically help companies to fulfill on-the-ground core functions, and we get the work done through gig workers. So during this never-ending lockdown, we've rolled out a solution that allows any organization to enforce, audit, and monitor COVID compliance measures at their workspace. We call this platform ACCP, which is short for Avigna COVID Compliance Platform. Now imagine that you are the CEO of a large enterprise and you have to resume operations in more than 1,000 offices for your organization. You basically have all the SOPs in place. You've told everyone what needs to be done. But the question is, can you be sure these SOPs will be effectively implemented? This is where ACCP becomes very relevant. One, it provides a mobile-based app for all COVID stakeholders like a guard or a supervisor so they can record their compliance measures. This basically also helps you to enforce all your SOPs. Second, ACCP gives you a way to monitor all of this through real-time dashboards, and it also sends notifications and alerts to the concerned stakeholders whenever there is a breach in protocol. It could be a temperature beat or say a mask breach. Third, which is again quite important, is a reality check through physical audits. This is where our gig workforce conducts surprise audits to highlight the ground reality.
Great. How has the product's traction been so far, Gurpreet?
The last couple of weeks, we have signed up 5 enterprises across retail, real estate and logistic industries. Although this platform can actually be used in any industry as it is highly customizable. See, we firmly believe that this solution will help enterprises adapt to the new normal. The aim for Avigna now is to get more than 1 million employees back to work by deploying this solution in at least 100 large enterprises in the next 6 months.
To read up on this and more on the company's journey so far and another variety of business diversification that COVID-19 has thrusted upon the company, check out the full story on techcircle.in.
Meanwhile, the standoff between India and China has had immediate impact on the digital economy, investment landscape, and retail in India. This week saw trade bodies and other groups asking for boycott of Chinese products, which pretty much include 80% of all the smartphones sold in India. Chinese origin apps, for instance, TikTok is the most popular app after WhatsApp in the country. So, in fact, it has gone to such an extent that people are saying the Hotel Association stated that it will deny accommodation to Chinese citizens in India.
That's right, Anand. There are reports on possible curbs on imports from China as well, which made up almost 14% of India's total imports, mostly in the form of components for mobiles, automobiles, telecom equipment, pharma ingredients, plastics, metals, etc. So now, speaking of which, this week we saw the government asking e-commerce platforms to declare country of origin on all products on their sites. This is as much to push the Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat projects, which were conceived by the PMO, as well as the ongoing standoff between the countries. Also, traders body CAIT, or Confederation of All India Traders, wrote to the Ministry of Commerce and asked that e-commerce platforms declare that on the products, quoting that 70% of most of these products are imported from China.
I mean, how is that even possible? For instance, most of the smartphone components actually come from China, and Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, Realme, everybody just assembles in India. So, I mean, does that make these products made in India or made in China? How does e-commerce companies decide all these things? I mean, can they actually practically do all these things what the government is insisting?
Well, Anand, to begin with, the mobile components might be given an exemption, and also the e-commerce companies during the meeting with DPIIT raised this point that since multiple products originate from different countries and might be assembled in China, for example, it would be misleading to say that the country of origin is China, whereas the components came from other geographies. However, the e-commerce companies have said that they are going to create the tab. For them, it's only a matter of adding another field, but the prerogative lies with the sellers to update this. This can be done for new listings which come on the website, but not for like the crores of existing listings, which might be difficult to update.
So there was an interesting thing. I mean, there was a news report which said that Xiaomi has actually changed the company branding on their stores and outlets and changed it to made in India or something like that instead of
That's right.
Xiaomi.
Yeah, even I saw the pictures, Anand. I think even the employees were asked not to wear the T-shirts displaying the brand, and I think the brand has gone on record to say it's more of a made in India brand than it is made in China.
All right. Let's move on to the funding deals of this week. The total funding in the tech startups this week was shot up almost 3 times or over 3 times, I should say, than last week. The largest round came in just some hours back. That's Byju's, which has raised funding. Payal, would you like to weigh in with the details?
Well, Shweta, the news is that Byju's, which said that it's raised an undisclosed amount, saw the participation of Bond. Now, important to remember that Bond was founded in 2019 by Barry Meeker, who quit Kleiner Perkins to set up this venture capital firm with a corpus of almost $1.25 billion. So it's as much a win for Byju's as it is for Bond to step into India with this edtech company. The valuation of Byju's has soared. We saw the valuation was $8 billion around earlier this year when it raised the round from Tiger Global and General Atlantic, whereas now it's shot up to $10 billion. So I would say that Byju's is probably the largest player in edtech in India, and in terms of valuation as well as the reach.
All right. And we also saw a couple of online lenders raising funding. There was iFinance, which backed a huge funding round of $27.7 million in a growth stage, which was led by returning investors Capital G, which is the private equity arm of Google's parent company, Alphabet. There was also Slice, which was earlier known as Slice Pay, which raised funding of $6 million from Japanese investor Gunozi Capital. The firm said that it will deploy the capital to double its management team and also explore banking partnerships to launch co-branded prepaid cards and credit cards.
Bike rental startup Yulu also raised about $4 million in equity capital infusion from California-based venture capital firm Rocketship. Separately, venture capital firm Matrix Partners India and returning investor Titan Capital invested about $5 million in omni-channel nutrition brand Oziva in a Series A funding round.
With this, it's a wrap on this edition of Tech This Week. Do stay tuned in and log on to techcircle.in for more interesting news and updates. Many thanks for listening, and do take very good care of yourselves.